What's going on, y'all? It's your boy T-Tail. Conversation of the Heart. Season 2, Episode 23. It's going to be a good one, y'all. Appreciate y'all for walking with me. We're going to have a special guest on. Another special one. My man Trey. We're about to get into this talk. I hope everybody had a good week. Everybody good. I see my man's in the building already. See if I can tap him in right quick. Britt, what's up? Gia, what's up? Jen, what's going on with you? Marcel, Trey, what's going on, brother?
Yo, what's going on, T?
Ain't not much, man. Listen, first of all, I just want to say, one, I appreciate you doing this. That's number one. Appreciate you coming on and just having this conversation with me, bro. It's been a long time coming. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But I'm definitely glad that we were able to do it now. So for people who don't know you, you know what I'm saying? For people who just aren't familiar with you, you know what I'm saying? You got your bachelor's, you know what I'm saying? You got your master's as well. You got your KSAC, and you're working on your doctorate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that is
correct.
That's correct.
Yeah. And you also you recently won an award, right? It was the New York Hustle Award, right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
The Hustle Award. Yes, thank you.
Congratulations, man. So for the people, just let them know a little bit about you and the services that you provide, because you're a psychotherapist and you're a social worker too.
Yes. So my name is Marcel. Everybody know me as Trey. I'm a psychotherapist. I specialize in trauma and anxiety. Ask me something else after that. Would you ask me after that?
No, just let the people know of the services that you provide.
Oh, right. And I specialize in providing housing to people with co-occurring disorders and people in reentry programs coming home from jail.
Mm-hmm.
I also mentor young men from South Jamaica, Queens. Just trying to keep them away from guns and drugs and all the stuff they throw at you.
Yeah, that's dope.
My first time.
That's fine, bro.
So I'm still learning this.
Hey, man, yo, listen, man, it's gonna be cool, man. We just gonna have a good conversation, bro. So looking back on your life, right? So we're gonna jump into this conversation, but I just kind of want to just give a little background. So looking back on your life, right?
Yeah.
And where you come from, let's just say if you were like 14, 15 years old, and now everything that you've accomplished, because I just named a laundry list of things that you've accomplished, right? Did you ever think that you'd be doing this work?
Nah, honestly, I never thought I was gonna make it to 19. So
wow.
When I started hitting milestones, I made it to 17. I got shot when I was 17. So when I made it to 18, after that, then I made it to 21. Every birthday was like a milestone. So like, all right, I made it to 25. I made it to 30. I was like, all right, cool. Maybe I could, I don't gotta worry about birthdays no more.
Wow.
Things started to change. But I didn't think I was gonna make it. So I wanted to say like it was rough, for the most part.
Yeah, you went through a lot of adversity, you know what I'm saying? And you made it through. And that's what this conversation really is all about. It's really of the journey through adversity. And especially, we're going to touch on mental health and things like that. But people kind of glorify adversity, right? Because it's like, oh, you have to go through adversity to make it, and, it builds character. But there's a lot of things that come with the adversity that affect your mental health too that people don't talk about. Right. Especially as men, we talk about trauma. It's like you just said, like you didn't think that you was even going to make it till 19, right? So a lot of us go through various different traumas from when we're kids to teenagers, and then we hit young adults, and people think that we're just supposed to just magically have it together. You know what I'm saying? And that's not reality. No. So being that you've went through, a lot of adversity, right? But when was the aha moment for you that, you know what, this is the work that you wanted to really get into?
A high moment. Oh, by the way, that was a good title you picked, "The Gift and the Curse of Adversity." That was real creative.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Um, a high moment. I would say probably. I was still figuring myself out after I got my bachelor's, so I would probably say
Hmm.
my couple of acceptance letters to the master programs I applied to. So at
Hmm.
that point, I was like, all right, maybe I'm still figuring it out, but I kind of sort of know what I want to do. I was
Hmm.
already in the field. I was providing case management services to people with that abuse substances. So I was already doing that, and I said to myself, all right, cool, I could probably grow within this. And that was the actually still work for the company. It's the longest job I probably ever had.
Right.
This is the longest job I've ever had.
Right.
Prior to that, I couldn't keep a job. But when I got into the master's program, I got a promotion, and the lady
Hmm.
promoted me. She just told me mostly, just start dressing for the position that I want, and she really took
Mm.
me because she didn't really know much about me. I was only working for her like for a little under a year, But
Wow.
for the most part, my work speaks for itself, or whatever. So that ended up working in my favor, and it developed into being my career. So I've been working at that agency now for 10 years.
Mm. Wow.
Uh,
That's amazing, bro. Um, so when it comes to adversity, what, as far as your journey goes, right? How did you endure? It's coming from a kid who said, I may not even make it to 19. So now I'm in my 30s, you know what I'm saying? I'm bachelor's, master's, social work, CASAC, you know what I'm saying? Working on my doctorate. Like, how did you deal with adversity as a teenager and as a young adult?
as a young adult, my answer probably would be I didn't process it. Like I would say I was coasting. You know,
Hmm.
I did whatever it took to keep me busy because I was into a lot of things. So
Hmm.
um, I partied a lot. I did a lot of what would you call it? There's a term for it.
It's like masking, pretty much, right?
Masking, in a sense, yeah. But
Yeah.
uh, I wouldn't say self-injurious behaviors, but like I coped with alcohol,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
women, just different things that really wasn't healthy. So
Right.
um, whatever it took to keep my mind off of it, I just kept going. So if I would literally party 4 in the morning, had to be at work at 6 in the morning, go home,
Yep.
shower, keep going, get off work, go to my second job, leave my second job, hang out with my friends, go check my grandmother, and then keep it going. Like I had little intervals of sleep, you know,
Hmm.
and I want to say that probably lasted to maybe I was about 23, 24. Um,
Hmm.
and then as I got into a young adult, I didn't really start processing it. I want to say until what year was that? I went through a very bad breakup. So whatever year that was when I
Hmm.
did therapy as a form to cope, and got into therapy. I bounced around though. I had different therapists before I found the therapist that I've been rocking with for the last 2 years. So
Right.
I've been seeing the therapist I see now for the past 2 years consistently.
Mm.
But prior to, I bounced around. I had a little white man who he was cool as hell too. He reminded me of like Yoda from Star Wars. Um, I talked to him about different things, and he would just laugh, but I knew he didn't understand. You know what I mean? Because he would talk
Right.
from a perspective where I couldn't really relate. So
Hmm.
to get along with me and understand me, you got to be relatable.
Right.
So left him. Ended up meeting a black therapist. She was a black woman. Used to see her every Monday. How did that go? I linked up with her every Monday at 8. She only took cash, $100 cash. After a while, I realized that I was attracted to her, so this wasn't gonna work. Out of there. um, and then I think I stayed. I didn't see a therapist for a while, and then I had
Hmm.
my friend Aaron. He's the black therapist, and I was just talking to
Hmm.
him one day, like, yo, like this is the shit that I've been dealing with for so long, and
Hmm.
people look on the outside looking at people, he's doing well, he got a lot going on for himself, everything like that, but in the same time, I didn't process some of the traumas I went through before I got here. So
Right.
a lot of it, started to not want to say take over, but like overshadow some of my accomplishments because in the dark, I'm either isolating or I don't answer my phone. People tell me I answer my phone to this day. That's something I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? But I just started to like shut down in a sense. And I did go do depression at one point. You know, but I think my breaking point was that relationship for me.
I think that's the breaking point for a lot of people. And it's funny that you say that about partying a lot. Like I used to do the same thing. You just party till 4 or 5 in the morning, then you get 2 hours of sleep, and then you get up and go to work. And I think, especially as men, like when people see us out, you know what I mean? They see us partying, they see us in that life, they think everything is cool. They think everything is good. We smiling with our friends. You might be popping bottles. You might have a lot of women in the section, and everything is love, right? But internally, you still got to go home and lay your head down at night, and that's when the torment starts. And a lot of times, you stay up at night or you party because instead of sleeping, because like when you're sitting by yourself, laying up, looking at the ceiling, that's when you get tormented.
Right.
That's when those feelings come, right? You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Like I told, a motto I had growing up was nobody cares, right? And I got that from I think A Bronx Tale. Sonny said it. He said,
yeah,
it resonated with me because my pops died. People was dead. I was 8, coming to family. Like a month later, that shit fade. I'm young, but you remember it vaguely as you get older. The first one of my friends died, I was 15. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn. You know, I'm talking to my grandmother about it, but she don't really know what's going on in the streets. Like, she know, but she don't really know.
Right.
So you process it, and you like, people come around, yo, Trey, yo, it's gonna be all right, all right, cool. Now, I get shot, I'm 17. I live. Some more of my friends get shot 18, 19, 20. They die. I'm processing that, they coming around. All of that. And then it gets to a point where, like, yo, these people, life goes on. You know, yeah, this person died, but this person has a kid. He love you. It doesn't mean that he doesn't care, but he has to go back and take care of his kid, his wife. This person has, you know, and the support, it starts to die down. But it doesn't mean that they don't mean well. You know, they still mean well, but they're not present in a sense anymore. You know, and I would say certain aspects, like if somebody like close to me, like everybody know my aunt and my grandmother are close to me. If one of them passed away, God forbid, if my closest friends that I rock with every day, I say wasn't there, or like a month passed and something died down, I can't say how I would react or how I would feel. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still learning. You know, and I could say in my mind, got a job. Yo, this person, I know they gonna come back around. But them times when you're sitting alone, you're like, none of that shit matters. Like, I don't care if you got a job right now. You know what I'm saying? And it might sound selfish, right? And I give you is the last time I got arrested in 2016. And my man Mel told me, his exact words, he said, don't go to jail tonight. I don't know why he said it to me. I wasn't doing nothing to go to jail, but I ended up getting arrested. Wow. That was the first time I got arrested in the boroughs. I sat in central bookings for 19 hours. I called this dude 57 times. Right? He eventually answered the phone, got me a lawyer, got me up out of there. But in that time where I was alone, even when I went to see the judge, the only person that was there was him and my man Daniel. And the whole 10 months that I went through that situation, it wasn't a phone call. Yo, Trey, how you doing? Yo, you're all right. Yo, I know you're going through this. You know what I mean? I'm young. So, yo, by yourself, yo, ain't nobody asking, yo, how your rent getting paid because you lost your job. Nobody's asking these people. You know what I'm saying? They just, you know what I'm saying? They're always there, though, for the turn up. If I say, yo, we going to a party, these niggas is coming with bottle money, stripper money, you know what I'm saying? Everything. And we gonna rock out. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to even not even just that, but even come down to the things I do back for the community. You know what I'm saying? When I do the book bag thing, every $5 is one book bag, right? I get support from people I don't hang around. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. There are people in my circle who do support, right? Right. Then there's people in my most intimate circle that don't do anything. You know what I'm saying? For me, sometimes it's like a struggle because it's one of them things where it's like, do you believe in my vision and where I'm going? I'm not the same person I was when I was younger, right? So I might go on a party, I might go to a lounge, but it's not something I want to do, you know, as often as I used to. You know what I mean? I still do it, but it's not the go-to thing, right? The things that mean something to me have changed, right? So the things that I value are, you know, the more I grow.
Right. And that's true. And you know, I have struggles with that too. Like especially like when you open a business and stuff like that, and the first people you think that is really gonna, support you like that are like your inner people, right?
Right.
And then they don't. But you get love from like everywhere else, you know what I'm saying? From people, but the people that you really thought, you know what I mean? It's almost kind of, it almost makes you feel a way about that. But going back to, it's like when you go through something and you're grieving and stuff like that, you do feel a way like when your people aren't there, right? So that kind of brings me to this creating safe spaces. I think in our community, they say it takes a village to raise a child, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to dispute that. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm finding is that it takes a village for us to even survive. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially in New York, like we always have it just saying like where it's just like you can just get it by yourself. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, honestly, when it comes to your mental health, when it comes to your emotional well-being, a lot of times like we need to start creating safe spaces for our brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? Because truth be told, everybody's there for the turn up. Mm-hmm. Everybody's there for the party. Everybody want to look good. You know what I'm saying? Put on their best, and everybody want to take pictures and look like they got it all together.
Right.
But then they go home and cry. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, if we can get to a point to where we can do the turn up, but also I'm also here for you for other things. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm also here for you. You know what I'm saying? If you want to talk about what's going on with your life, mm-hmm. I think that's important, man. Like, what do you think about creating safe spaces, man? You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy for guys to talk, but it's always about sports, women, you know what I'm saying? Parties, stuff like that, or maybe some business. But when it comes to like our feelings, what's really going on in our lives, it's kind of like we just like, no, we're not going to create that same space.
Right. As far as safe spaces go, I totally agree with that. One of the safe spaces that I created at one point, it was called Corner of Kings. So, mm-hmm. Empowering men from all walks of life. So one of the things I did was I did an event at A Live Kitchen. I think it was $25. Different men came, even women came, because I didn't want to be gender specific at that time. Mm-hmm. Just to have an open space to talk. And we closed the restaurant down, so nobody else was allowed to come in. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to continue to do it. Shout out to Aubrey, he just joined. He wanted to continue mm-hmm. to do it with me, and mm-hmm. at the time, I think he was working at the church, or forgot. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we go to barbershops, we talk about sports, we do those type of things, but that's not really getting to the root of the issue. And of the problem is a lot of men don't want to be vulnerable with their friends. So after I got shot, my cousin Chris used to always say to me, like, yo, you got to start taking pictures, you know what I'm saying? Because at that time, had I died that day, I didn't have no pictures. I was not a picture taker. Like, you would type it out and I'm throwing my hoodie on and I'm getting up out of it.
Right.
Now, I'll take a selfie. People say, "Oh, you post mad pictures." I do because it taught me to enjoy that moment. If I'm doing something in that moment and I'm enjoying it, I can share it if I mm-hmm. do, or if I choose not to. Mm-hmm. But being vulnerable is actually a strength. It's beauty. It is beauty in being vulnerable.
It is.
I have a group chat with my groomsmen, and I tell them at least once a week, "Yo, I love y'all." They don't even respond. Like, I think it's like a weird space. Like, they be like, yo.
It is.
And then I hit them one by one. I'd be like, yo, if I would have said, let's go to this party or put up a chick in this group, everybody's hitting up. I got a response. Yeah. I wrote something like empowerment shit. I think I had watched something on the news, and I wrote like a paragraph. Mm-hmm. Proud of y'all. I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? None of these niggas responded. So I ended up hitting them one by one. Like, yo, the next time y'all hit me, and y'all don't respond to my group chat, because like, I'm gonna ignore y'all. Two, I'm not saying that positive. They ain't like, yo, thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Yo, I needed that. Yeah. All right, cool, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But making mm-hmm. business to tell anybody I love, not even just my male friends, my female friends too. I love them.
Of course.
You never know when you're going to see somebody again,
And that's a fact. And I think sometimes men respond differently when it's one-on-one too. Like, when you put it in the group chat, everybody's like, all right, am I supposed to say I love you too? Like, oh, I love you too, bro. Like, yeah. For some people, they're still in that weird space. Like, I can't really say that. Like, I can't really express that. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not just used to it. You know what I mean? But you mentioned going to therapy. Right. You know what I mean? And the one thing, there's always been a stigma with therapy, especially in the Black community too, right? Everybody says like, yo, what happens in this house stays in this house. Everybody, a lot of Black folks say that growing up, like your elders say that. And I'm like, well, that's the problem, because what's happened in this house is staying in this house, And it's repeating the cycles that you're passing down, and it's always just staying within the house,
Right.
right? And then you go to church, and people tell you that your problem is you're not praying hard enough. You're not doing this. Like you're not giving enough in the offering enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, and everywhere you go, it's like, you know, you should be doing something else besides therapy, because if you go to therapy, then something's wrong, right? Something is wrong with you, or you're crazy. They're gonna medicate you. But what a lot of people don't understand is that therapy doesn't mean that they're gonna medicate you.
Right.
Like that's number one. And therapy doesn't mean that you're crazy.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you break your leg right now, you're going to the doctor, right? I hope. Right?
Correct.
If you break your leg, you're not just going to just pray it away, because it's going to be hanging off, right? You can't just pray that away.
Right.
You're going to go to the best surgeons and get it taken care of, right?
Right.
It's the same thing with your mental health. You got to get that taken care of, man. Like, you got to go see a therapist. You got to go work that stuff out. For a lot of people, go ahead.
In the Black community, there's a negative connotation on it. So when somebody
Yes.
people say it in a attacking way. So like you might express yourself to somebody like, you need a therapist. You know, like it's really like trying to normalize it in the Black community. It's really all about how you say it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You, instead of saying, you know, you need a therapist, or you could say something. Have you tried talking to somebody about, you know, or processing the things that you were going through? You know, and then they might sit down and think about it, like process it, like what you mean? Tell me more. You know, so it really boils down to like how you say to people. And now it's, you know, it's becoming a more popular trend. You know, especially on social media. So I believe that with creating a more safe spaces and you know, showing men, and you know, because I lead by example. You know, I have to be vulnerable to my loved ones. You know what I'm saying? Because if I don't, you know, they wouldn't really get the best version of me. I wasn't showing up before I decided to be the best version, vulnerable. I wasn't showing up as the best version of me at all to anybody. You know, there's been times where, you know, I may have apologized to people because I could not show up as that best version of me then, but I'm showing up as the best version of myself now.
Right. And that's a fact. Vulnerability creates a lot of opportunity for different things. It creates a lot of opportunity for expression, communication, you know what I mean? And it just opens up a different type of dialogue with your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? So definitely just salute to you. Because one, you're also providing services too, you know, being a social worker and a psychotherapist. You know what I'm saying? So you're somebody that's in the community actively, you know what I'm saying, providing these services, right? And I'm somebody that's in the community that actually goes to therapy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's absolutely needed, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, man. Like, I think we all need that.
You know, and I tell people all the time, like, for those who know me and know my journey and know what I've been through, you know, they see they tell me all the time, they see the change in me, you know, things like that. And I didn't do it for, I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it for them. I really did it for me, but I see how it benefits them as well. You know, oh, I gotta turn these comments off. I heard people say that seeing a therapist will change what they have. They realize it was a goal. Jokes aside, real conversation. Oh, thank you, G Coco. Yeah, she threw me a paragraph out there. But yeah, just going to see, you know, a therapist, allowing myself to become vulnerable. I've learned more about myself. You know, I've become more patient with myself. I've become more patient with other people. A lot of the that I think I once had, I had because I didn't have no insight into the things that was going on in my brain. You know, I didn't process getting shot and healing and surviving. For a while, I think I had survivor's guilt. You know, things like that, especially losing so many friends. So when you get older and you learn things and you know, you go to school and you learn more things and you start processing the things you once went through, you look at it differently than you would have in that moment then. You know, even then, there's some things that I wish I could have changed in regards to how I handled even processing, even going through the whole process of getting shot, because I couldn't walk for a year. I had to learn how to walk again. You know, so I was angry. I was angry at the world. I lost friends. I lost family members. People I still don't speak to. But you know, some people forgave me as I got older and apologized. Some people didn't. But you know, it comes with a grain of salt. You know.
And when you talk about therapy, kind of just changing, you know, kind of who you are. The one thing about therapy though that's very interesting is it rips, like when you go to therapy, it literally rips your mask off that you walk around with 24/7. The mask that like the persona,
Right.
the ego, like of the perception of who people think you are, right? And sometimes it's an ego check too, because it's like, nah, it's not just everybody else. There's stuff you gotta fix, bro. There's stuff that's going on with you that you really have to look deep down with inside yourself to really start making the work within yourself to be different,
Yeah.
and to be better.
Right. People don't realize therapy won't work if you don't do the work. You have to be intentional, and you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
If you go in there and you're not telling the whole truth, it really defeats the purpose. You're wasting their time, my time, and your money. So you got to be intentional. You may go in not knowing what you're going in for or what goal you want to have, the outcome of it, but therapist is going to guide you along with that, and as you guys process the things that you speak on. But you have to be very intentional.
Right. And so you know how you know how a lot of men are, and a lot of people, they complain and they say men don't know how to communicate, men don't know how to express their feelings, and men don't know how to be this and that, right? But here's, the thing of what I always say is, let's get to the root of the problem, right? Let's go back of what we were taught as kids, right? As young boys, we were taught, we were never given the permission to communicate, right? That's not something that was us. It was always like, be quiet, don't say anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, talking is a female trait. That's what they always say, right?
Right.
But on the flip side, with women, they were always taught to express themselves. Crying is cool. Crying is okay. No worries. Come tell me your issues and problems, right? But for men, it's just like, man up and deal with it and keep pushing, right? So you wonder why there's generations of men that when they get to 20s, 30s, and 40s,
can't communicate.
A lot of us don't know how to communicate. And just because you got a pretty smile and a nice body doesn't mean that's going to change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we haven't unpacked the trauma that we've had to endure for years, right? And it's just like, well, how come you don't know how to express love? Well, how do I even know what love looks like? That's number one, right? Do I even know what that even sounds like? You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to, especially when you're dealing with the opposite sex, it's just because you look good doesn't mean I even know that you really even love me. I don't know.
Right.
Because maybe I was never shown love.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I wasn't given the permission to express love. But all you see is just me not knowing how to communicate, right, or knowing how to express. So if you were looking at, a 14-year-old young man, you know what I'm saying? Because I know that you do a lot of work with the youth. What would you tell them about how to start in the process of having to learn how to express and communicate better, or at an earlier age?
Well, it starts at home with the family. It depends to unlearn the dysfunction first. Because at 14, if you're 14 now and your parents are telling you, what goes on in this house stays in it, they already don't know how to communicate, right? So by the time they're going to be very reserved and very short, curt for the most part, because a lot of kids don't want to talk about their feelings at that time. But just teaching them, letting them know, crying is healthy. Sometimes you can cry and let go of that emotion, and you'll feel like a whole load just come off your shoulder. Especially if you can't verbalize the feelings that you're feeling because you don't know how to communicate. So at that time, they can communicate in different ways, whether it be through art, through music. There's other ways to pick up signs.
Dope. And I would say even just writing in a journal too.
Right, journaling. Too. But then a lot, some kids though, what I hear often is, if I write it down, my mom's gonna find it. She searches my room. That's another thing. So they feel like they don't have no privacy. Right? And privacy is big. So if they can't,
that's true.
If they feel like they can't trust their parent, getting them the journal is going to be very hard.
Very, very true. I know sometimes they have electronic journals and stuff like that. But that's true though, and that's crazy to even think that like parents sometimes can't understand their children and privacy. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always like, well, this is my house, so everything in this house is mine, right? Like that's kind of always been just kind of like how it is in the household, right? But truthfully, like sometimes your kids do need privacy, right? And not to the point where they're gonna if you're worried about them hurting themselves, that's a different story. But sometimes like they just need that space to just learn who they are, And I think sometimes as parents, they're focused on my kid has to be a better version of me, right? Of them, right? Of just who they are. But it's like, nah, but who are they?
Right.
Who are they gonna grow up to be? A version
Yeah.
of
Ideally,
themselves.
you want it, right, and you want them to be the best version of themselves that they can be. So
Hmm.
but shout out to the parents who are doing
Yeah,
it, without having people
facts.
being set for it. Because there are a lot of parents, who are making it happen and and learning as they go.
Hmm. Hmm. Now that's definitely true. So let's talk about some of the services. Like how can somebody actually, if like they're watching this live and they say, man, like I want to book Trey for a session. So how do they go about doing it?
I'm on Psychology Today. I'm on. They can click the email, phone contact, in the Rep the Alternative bio, and an
Hmm.
email to me.
Hmm.
And they can. There's a number. There's a number in that link as well. They can call as well, or via text.
Fire. Let's talk about Rep the Real Alternative. Did you just found that in 2020
Yeah.
or?
Well, I did. I initially started in 2019, but I didn't.
Mhm.
I didn't make it a LLC / nonprofit until 2020.
Dope, dope, dope. And that's just strictly your therapy services, right?
No, it's therapy services. Also, an initiative to give back to the community through various events,
Hmm.
and just spreading awareness and knowledge. For health, wealth, education, and housing. Because
Hmm.
those are some of the areas where I feel like my family lacked the education of. So
Right.
have certain resources, and I had to fend it for myself and figure it out.
Mm. That's dope. You mentioned that you do a backpack drive, right?
Right. Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because me personally, I would actually like to know more about that and how I could support that.
Yeah. So usually I started like around June. You know,
Okay.
I create a flyer. I just reach out for donations and everything like that every year. And in the last few years, we've done 500 book bags, 700 book bags.
Wow.
Give them out in South Jamaica, so various neighborhoods. Whether this year we did the Bella 150th Park, PS
Hmm.
Memorial Tournament for Mr. Pauline. He was a good pillar of my.
Hmm.
Um, and the year before that, the first year we did it at Rochdale Day, and the year before that, we did it at year after that we did it at Bello Day.
Oh, dope.
Right.
Good. Next June, I got you.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
we do different things. So like Thanksgiving, we do food drives for the
Okay.
homeless, less fortunate. We give out food, plot plates. We do coat drives, undergarment drives, different things. That
Okay.
needs.
Oh, dope. All right. So I look forward to definitely supporting a lot of your stuff now. You know what I'm saying? Now that I know. So definitely.
I appreciate it.
Um, so we talked about communication. Now, emotional intelligence, that's been a hot topic a lot. Um, especially within within our community, right? And I feel like I know it, and I love emotional intelligence. I love talking about it, right? But at the same time, in order for us to get to emotional intelligence, right, we have to kind of get to the root of our issues, right, from jump, because a lot of us are already born in the red, like literally born in the red when it comes to mental health.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether it be through our parents and they're in the red, and we're born into dysfunction, right? And we're born into just these situations, right? And everybody's, oh, like you have to be emotional intelligent, and I'm a firm believer in that. But when it comes to a family construct, right? Would you recommend like family therapy starting at an early age, right? So let's just say you have a kid 4 or 5 years old, like a family just starts going to therapy right away as a unit. I've heard that that's something that people are starting to do, which I was like, yo, like that's a pretty good idea.
Right.
What
Yes,
do you think?
it's always better to be proactive than reactive. So
Hmm.
that those parents may want to interrupt the dysfunction that they inherited, and break that generational trauma, so
Hmm.
that is very healthy. I do see it. It's becoming more popular. I do see that a lot.
Mm. Yeah, man, because like when I heard that, more people, more families were starting to do it, I was like, man, that's really amazing, because now this child is actually now getting the benefit, seeing it early. Like, wow, like look at my parents. Like we're all here going now to therapy together. You know what I'm saying? Versus waiting until I'm 20, 25, 30, and I'm just getting it done on my own. But now they're seeing the example of like, yo, my parents are doing it, I'm doing this. And now that person is probably, and that child is probably now going to pass it down to their kids, right? And because we also talk about generational wealth a lot, right? That, you know, that's always a hot topic, and it should be. But a lot of times we don't talk about generational mental health wealth. And
Right.
that's a different conversation, you know,
Yeah.
because it's not comfortable, right? And of course, getting money, you know what I mean? We have to start creating that, of course. But when it comes to generational mental health wealth, that's so important because now we're starting to change behaviors that can actually impact our money too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us do things out of struggle. We make decisions out of struggle. We make this, you know, especially financially. A lot of us, they come into financial, restraint, right? So a lot of us are born into that poverty and certain things like that. So
Yeah, but
if we kind of, go
we
ahead.
everybody, we have to, as Black people, we have to start normalizing that wealth is okay. You know, people treat wealth, when Black people attain wealth as is it's a luxury that we can't obtain.
Hmm.
We finally get it. It's like a trophy, like, oh, here,
Facts.
instead of, because I use an example. I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and when white people buy houses, yeah, they might have a house home. You get the congratulations, but that's like a norm for them. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, they're not like, it's not something like really brag about or boast about, because it's like a norm, and they pass their houses
Right.
down like that. So when Black people buy houses, it's like an anomaly. Like, oh wow, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be just as normal as if another person did it. So
Wow.
a great accomplishment, yes. But okay, cool. I can get this car too. I can get a house too. I can obtain this job too. I can have this amount of money in my bank account as well. And that
Mm,
be normalized. Black wealth has to be normalized. In addition to, like you said, Black mental health wealth.
man. And that's true. And it's funny, like whenever I go to like I visit my family in the South or like Atlanta, that part of what you just said about buying a house and having the cars and stuff, that's so normal out there, right? Like it's very normal. Like Black people are opening businesses, they're opening restaurants, they're opening lounges, they're opening all types of things down there, buying up land like this. But it's like when you talk about the big cities now, it's a different game, right? It's like things are more expensive, obviously. The cost of living is high. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times it doesn't create for the same opportunities as one would be in Atlanta, North Carolina, you know what I'm saying? In places like that. So, it makes us feel like we always have to work 10 times harder, right?
Right.
Um, which
But
is a gift and a curse too.
right. But these things should be normal. Like it should
Hmm.
something that we obtain, and we teach our kids about. We teach them about credit. We teach them about maintaining their mental health. We teach them about self-care days, and putting all of that stuff first. You know.
Hmm. It's very true. But I think especially as men, we always talk about getting money. Like we always talk about, like what's the next move, what's the next business venture, like how are we gonna get to the next dollar, right?
Right.
And that's something that because by nature we always try to be providers, right? And whether that be for just us or whether it be for our families or whatever the case is. So we always are like, yo, hustling, talking about the dollar. But then you're right, but we should be having the conversations on, credit, right? That's a different conversation
Right.
because even for me, just working, I've worked in the nonprofit sector as well, and you'd be surprised how many people still in our community, one, don't want to open up a bank account,
Right.
and that blew my mind. What I'm saying? I was like, they don't want to open up a bank account? Like, what do you mean? Like, and I'm teaching these classes, and they're like, no, I don't trust that. I don't want to open up a bank account. And I'm like, oh wow, like they don't know how to save money, right? And credit and how credit works and things like that. So you're absolutely right. These are things that should be taught. I see my boy Debt-Free Joel is in here, like, and he does a great job of also teaching about being the importance of being debt free and how that can affect your mental health and saving and investments and 401k. So salute to him with that because that's what we need a lot of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Remember,
In our community.
a lot of the people that you speak on that don't trust the banks and stuff, they're in a system that's designed to keep them in the system, right? So
Hmm.
they may get food stamps as a side. and then they might get a job. But they're told, hey, if you get a job and you work over 20 hours, we take away this benefit. Now that benefit, they can't pay their rent, or they can't buy food, or they can't provide uniforms for children. So it's designed to keep them in there, which is also another trauma, and they're in that system and they're not speaking on it when they go to therapy, and the system is messed up because with all, like, I think I watched the news the other day, and the United States is in this huge debt, right, with all that money and everything going on. But if they could end homelessness, they can end, some of these issues that are keeping the clients in that systemic issue.
That's powerful. And when you said normalize wealth, the one thing that sparked in me is we have to understand that we earned it and we deserve it too, right? And I think it was last year I did like a 2-hour show with an HR executive, and it was all surrounding about how to ask for raises, right? How to negotiate salaries and things like that. And it blew my mind how many people didn't know how to negotiate their own salary, or was afraid to negotiate their own salary, or afraid to negotiate their bonuses and raises too. They were afraid to ask just for what they wanted. And that mentality blew my mind, because it's just like, you got to ask for the things that you want, because I know other ethnicities that they're going to ask for everything plus more. But for us, it's just like, let me be happy for what I have.
Right. We're like taught to almost be thankful for that, what we're given, and we can't ask for more. And a lot of people don't know how. Like, I want to say at the beginning of my career, I didn't know how either. So that was something that I had to learn, especially to survive in New York. You have to know how to advocate for yourself.
Especially being here. If you're from any of the big cities, New York, Chicago, Cali, you got to negotiate those salaries, man, because you actually work for it. You probably overworked for it. You're not working like 40 hours a week. You're probably working like 50, 55 hours a week, especially if you live in New York, because you're always hustling. You know what I'm saying? Definitely true. And also it's okay to have a job and to have your own business too.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of us sometimes, not us, but just like, it's like one or the other. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then there's this thing where it's like, if you don't have an LLC, you ain't doing nothing.
Right. And it's, it's so bad, because it's like you try to build up the community, but then the community is tearing each other down. Well, I got a business and you a 9-to-5 dude. And then the women don't make it no better, because the women is like, I want a dude that don't have to go to work, and he fly me out, he can do this and he can do that. But all of that fast.
That's a fact.
I tell you, it comes to a halt fast. And as you get older, you got to learn to see what matters most. You know what I'm saying? So I can't speak for other people, right? But it took for me to get shot and arrested 3 times for me to say I got to change my life, right? So, and I think the most prominent time was that last arrest. The last arrest, I was like, I can't do this shit no more. My man is doing 85 years right now. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I did total cumulative all the time I got arrested. I probably did a week and a half. I was in my mind, right? But not because I can't handle it, but because I value my freedom. I value, the being able to think, do what I want, not being able to tell what to do, not to have to answer to authority, right? All of that comes back into, just doing the right things to build your business, not tearing each other down. So as I was saying, like you have the dude with the business tearing down, dude with the 9-to-5. The 9-to-5 dude is trying to say, teach his kids the right way, but then that fast money interferes, and all the other things that come in the streets and the fastest that kids see. Once you start going outside by yourself without an adult, you're automatically prone to guns, violence, drugs, and gangs immediately. There's no way around it, right? So if you're not strong enough and have somebody to tell you these right things and to avoid that fast money and that fast life, you get sucked right into it, and then the trauma begins all over again.
Wow. And then that's the vicious cycle.
Vicious.
And Guyanese Mel says, work, build your business, and also live your life. And that's another thing. That last part to that is live your life. You
gotta live it.
That's a big part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because we get one of these. Like, we really get one life, and sometimes we get caught up with just the grind. Especially, you know how it is. Like, being from New York, everything is grind. Like, you're taught that, you're drilled into that. You sleep when you're dead. You know what I mean? All that stuff you hear, and it's like not like, it's not.
they sleep when you're dead, you will die. Like, you know, people don't understand, you will die, right? So
Yeah.
right now, I work 80 hours a week at a minimum. Last week,
Mm-hmm.
last week I worked 115 hours. It was beyond my control, right? If I don't take out time, like I take days off. Like I'll wake up one morning and say, "Yo, I'm not going to work." I don't have
Right.
to explain myself, and I try to tell people you don't have to explain. Normalize taking those mental health days, but a luxury of mine, like Mel said, live your life. I like to travel, right? So my balance is traveling, spa. Like I'm a big advocate for self care. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you could catch me at a spa or on a vacation often. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and those are the things that you have to do, you know, to keep going. Because the grind, I tell you all the time, you could grind, but if you got your own job, once you die, who's going to keep it up? If you're working for somebody else, they're going to replace you, you know. And then as soon as they get the phone call, up, they'll post this position on Indeed.
Yep.
So you gotta take time out for yourself.
Nah, like you definitely do. And I just started to do the whole like the spa stuff myself this year. I kind of just started to do that too. I wasn't really doing that before, but I started to go to like the massages, and I started to get these crazy beard massages, and I was like, oh nah, this gotta stay in my routine. I said, nah, this gotta stay in my routine now. Like I was saying, wow, like this, it feels different. You know what I mean? You actually feel very good after that, especially if you work hard, and there's got to be a balance. You know what I'm saying? So plan your one life. Somebody else who does amazing work with teaching people about finances. She said, I've taken off from work for my mental health. Yo, you have to. And Trey, the biggest thing that you said was and not providing an explanation. We always feel like we have to provide an explanation, like, oh, well, I have a doctor, or, oh, well, you know, I'm taking this off because of this. You know what I mean? And it's just like, nah, like, I need to just take the day off, and you don't really need to know why.
Right. You know, and I had to tell that to one of my employees today. She's young. I think she's about 23, just entering the workforce, just got a bachelor's degree in psychology. She took off a couple of days for a medical emergency. And I'm like, listen, you don't have to tell me why. If you need a mental health day, it's okay. I understand. You know, I told her the protocol. You know, you only have to give me a doctor's note if you're out 3 consecutive days. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
No, just has to say you were out this day, you come back this day. It doesn't have to specify why. You know, I try to push that a lot of times because I know a lot of people, I don't know what to tell my job. And I was like that when I was young.
Yeah.
You know, I worked at Sears. One of my first jobs I worked at Sears. I call out because, you know, they big on calling out. I say, call my friend like, yo, what am I going to tell my boss? I can't come to work. Knowing I'm lying, probably ain't nothing wrong with me. I just don't want to go. You know, but
that's period. Like, and that's really all that it really needs to be. But again, I think that mentality also comes from a lack of being scared that this opportunity or this job is going to be taken from us. Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, now if you're in a place of lack or just by just making it or just by, you know, paycheck to paycheck, right? Then it's like, yo, I can't afford not to have this job because if they fire me for this, then right. And it's just like, that's where also having, you know what I'm saying, your finances in order, you know what I mean? And just knowing like, okay, even if that did happen, I'm good.
Right.
Right. So it's all kind of linked together, you know, but yes, like you're 100% right. You'll take the day off with no explanation needed. Mm-hmm. And understand that your friends, your family, also the ones that's always smiling and having a good time, you got to check on them. Yeah. Because those be the ones. Those be the ones going through everything.
Right. You know what I mean?
And feel the most alone.
You got to know your friends, you know what I'm saying? Because they can smile, they can tell you everything is all right. And you can know something's all right, you know what I mean? And you can know something's wrong, you know, and they still won't, you know, but don't be put too pushy. Just, you know.
Nah.
You know, if you need anything, you need me, you know, I'm here for you. You know, sometimes just
exactly
hearing that and just knowing that will allow a person to just even settle them. You never know that. It might even save their life if they contemplate suicide.
And that's a fact. And sometimes you don't even really realize by just you sending a text could just shift their whole mind frame. You know what I'm saying? Just even like, yo, bro, I'm thinking about you. Yo, I'm proud of you. Yo, sometimes you open your phone like, yo, man, I was in a bad day. I had a bad mood and all that. But now, like, you see that open, it's like, yo, man, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? And it's also practicing asking your friends different questions too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always ask your friends, yo, how you doing? I'm good. And I saw a post, I think it was a couple weeks ago, that said, a man will I'm good himself into the grave. And I was like, wow, because that's honestly true. Because whenever you ask somebody, it's always, I'm good. I'm good. Not, and they're not good. You know what I'm saying? So kind of practice maybe just asking different questions, man. You know what I'm saying? I remember one of my friends, she asked me, she sent me a text and said, yo, T, how is your soul doing today? And I was like, how is my soul doing? I said, damn, now I'm thinking like, man, how do I feel? Like now I can't just say I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know, man. You know, that's kind of just my opinions on things, bro. But listen, I want for the people who just joined late, you know, I want you to tell them where they can find you, your social media and all that.
There's a question.
Oh, there's a question?
Yeah.
Where is it?
The question.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Where is it?
Thomas Claw Photography says, how do you help your friends get therapy if they keep brushing it off? I'm assuming that question is for me.
Yeah. You can go and then I'll go. It's fine.
I would say, you know, having a conversation with them, you know, just bringing it to them because you can't force it on them.
No.
You know, just letting them know that it's okay and being a support system to them because a lot of times if they're not open to it, they won't be open to it for some while. But, you know, periodically continuing to bring it up, you know, as they process the emotions that they're going through and if unable to process it, you know, lead by example, you know, or let them know if there's a mutual friend that's going to therapy, have that friend speak on how therapy has affected, you know, their life and the changes in them or whatever adversity they may have gone through.
Facts. And also, you could just be your own, I'll just add on a little bit. It's just, you could just be your own testimony about what therapy has done for you. You know what I'm saying? Just like, hey, listen, this is just what it's done for me. You know, I can't say that it's going to do the same for you, but this is the benefits of where I was and then where I'm at right now. You know what I'm saying? And if you think that could benefit you, you know, then I have a referral. You know what I'm saying? And you can be a resource now too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, somebody said, if you're asking how you doing, and just make sure you're prepared for the answer. If it's not, I'm good. Oh, 200%. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? Definitely true. But listen, this has been a pleasure, man. We're almost to an hour, so I just want for the people that joined in late, tell them where you can find you. Give them all your social media.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Rep the Alternative. Also, you can find me on my other pages. I'm handsome2_Trey. You can find me on Psychology Today. My email and contact info is in my Instagram bio.
And also for the people who just joined, what services do you provide?
I provide psychotherapy to individuals and couples. I specialize in trauma, anxiety, and depression.
Dope. Listen, my brother, you are doing amazing work. I'm proud of you. I hope that maybe that we could jump on again and do a different topic. You know what I mean?
This was dope. I mean, as my career, you know, continues, I'm starting to do these a little bit more. So I'm starting to get a little more comfortable with the camera and talk a little. This is my second time actually doing this. My first time on Instagram. So, you know,
dope.
As time continues.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate me being the first one on IG, baby. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for I appreciate it.
Yo, but I know that people were definitely blessed by this. It's like I said, me and you can definitely do this again. Different topic, man, and we can dive deep, bro. I salute to you, man. You're definitely a king, and the work that you're doing is absolutely amazing, man. From a brother to a brother, man. I'm proud of you, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Proud of you as well. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, bro.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Appreciate you, man. All right, peace. Whew. Well, listen, I definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in. This is this week's episode, season 2, episode 23. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We're gonna have another good one next week with my boy Debt Free Joel talking fourth quarter finances, y'all. Yo, it's your boy